Hello, this is the fifth video in our life cycle nutrition, and previously we have talked about during conception, pregnancy, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, as well as breastfeeding, what kind of diet should be taken, what should be avoided and such. In this video, I would like to talk about introduction of solid foods to the baby and also continuing the solid foods, what kind of foods to introduce, what are the quantities that should be given at various age groups, and this is specifically from 6 months of age to 24 months, which is up to 2 years of age. How much of food should be given, how should food be introduced to the child, and what kind of care should parents take to make sure the child develops good eating habits. At the same time, the child is ensured, you ensure that the child has their nutritional needs met. So when the food is being solid food should actually be introduced after the child completes the 6th month. So in 6th month, whatever you introduce in the 6th and 7th months is the time for introducing new solid foods. And the texture of this food should be almost semi-solid but not exactly very water-like. It should not be very thick, it should not be very thin, but more like a porridge consistency. It should not be a watery porridge, but porridge consistency. One thing that you can do when you are starting your baby on solid foods is, instead of using water to cook the food or water to mix the solid food, you can always use the pumped breast milk or prepare the formula milk and use it to prepare this solid food that is being introduced to the baby. So how much of food should be given or can be given? In the first 2 months, 6 to 7 months of age, 6th month and 7th month, a baby can be given food, solid food, about 2 times, 2 to 3 times, depending on how well the baby is accepting. But 2 to 3 times should be the limit of solid food that is being given to the baby. And every time you give food, it should only be about 1 to 2 tablespoons, not more than that. Because if you look at this 6-month-old baby, their stomach is very, very small. They cannot fit more than 150 to 200 ml volume of food in their tummy at one time. So to meet their energy needs, you need to give them frequently and in small quantities. But don't get upset that they are not emptying the entire huge bowl of food you mixed for them. So just mix about 1 to 2 tablespoons of food. And one more thing that you need to remember at this time is, just imagine yourself, we are all used to eating a certain kind of food. So when you are suddenly presented with a brand new food that you have never seen, never smelled, never looked at, how would you approach the food? So be empathetic to the baby when they look at food with suspicion. Offer them an opportunity, give them an opportunity to touch the food, to feel the food, to smell it, to smear it all over them, to make a mess, because that is how you get the child to feel comfortable with the food. Once they feel comfortable, you can encourage them to try to feed themselves, and this all happens in 9th month and beyond. But initially you just let them play with the food, and as I said, do not give more than 1 to 2 tablespoons at once, and not more than 2 to 3 feeds per day of your solid food. And what do you do for rest of the time? For the rest of the time, you breastfeed as often as needed, as much as the child demands. And this will ensure that the child is getting most of the nutrients that are needed. And in case if there is any shortage of nutrients, as and when you go for these periodic medical checkups, their pediatrician will let you know, if the growth is going on fine, if the child is at good weight, good height, and make sure you have their growth charts. So then, what kind of food can be introduced to a 6 and 7 month old? You can introduce easily mashable foods. So the initial food should always be bland. Do not offer a heavily flavored food in the first couple of months to the child. So the food should be really bland. Don't add any sweetener, don't add any salt to it. And this you have to remember, within the first 1 year, please do not add any salt, 0 salt to your child's diet, because until 1 year of age, the baby's kidneys are still developing. So you don't want to overload them with the salt. Even if it is just a pinch, please refrain. They will taste the food as such. So their taste buds are not exactly like ours, like more refined and everything. So let them taste the food in its original form, make it bland, mix it with good amount of oil or ghee or butter. You can add ghee or butter as per your preference, and this will increase the calorie content. It makes it calorie dense, make it slightly thicker. It's not like porridge consistency, not too thin. And you can give your grains, easily digestible, but you don't need to give like ultra processed grains like mashed white rice or anything. You can even give brown rice, but make sure it is fully cooked and mashed. Make a paste of it. And the paste consistency should only be given during the 6th and 7th month. In the last week of 7th month, you should gradually move them from the smooth paste to kind of a textured paste, so that it is hand mashed and not blended. The faster, like the sooner you take the child out from that completely blended paste of food, the better the child's development will be post 7 months. So until 7 months of age or until mid 7th month, you can offer them kind of paste, but gradually move them away from the paste and offer them hand mashed foods. From your 7th month to 9th month, you can change the texture, gradually thicken the food a little bit, and also you can offer them mashed vegetables as well. So earlier you were giving them mashed grains, paste of grains and paste of lentils a little bit. 7th, 8th month is when you can also introduce some animal based foods, like you can give them a little bit of eggs also. So again, the quantity of food changes a little bit here. During the 7th to 9th month, you can slightly increase the quantity of food. You can give them in one feed, you can give them 2/3 cup, a cup being 250 ml volume. So 2/3 of that cup is one feed, and you can give them anywhere between 2 to 3 feeds per day during that time. An additional snack depending on whether the child is at the end of 8th month. At the end of 8th month, beginning of 9th month, you can add a snack. Until then, 2 to 3, 2/3 of a bowl is the quantity, and you can start including different kinds of vegetables as well, and a little bit of fruit. So don't mix everything in one single meal, but offer 2 different kinds of meals. So whatever is convenient for you, at the same time, whatever ingredients that your family uses without the spices and salt should be the baby's food. You don't, ideally, you shouldn't have to prepare everything separately for the baby. The grain needs to be separate, the pulses need to be separate. Don't do that. Whatever you are eating, in fact, we all need to eat a balanced meal anyway. So take food or components from the balanced meal itself. Include your grains, include your lentils and beans, include your vegetables, especially leafy greens is a good time to add leafy greens is 7th to 9th month. You can gradually start adding those, and add plenty of ghee. Then moving on to our 8th, 9th month and 9th to 12th months of age. This is when the children, most of the babies start getting their teeth. Once they have their teeth, you should start including a little bit of chewable foods in their diet. So you can give them softly, soft bananas, so that they don't, you can cut a small piece of it and then let them bite on it. And also softly boiled carrots and softly boiled potatoes, like mashed potato or, hand mashed potato, things like that, so that they can hold it and like finger food, they can hold it and bite on it. This is the time the quantity of food should also be increased from 2/3 of a cup to 3/4 of a cup being 250 ml volume. Once this is started and the child starts eating, this is a very slow process. Please don't rush it. You can gradually start, introducing foods to them, but you have to remember one thing. It might take almost 20 to 30 times of tasting a certain food before the child feels comfortable with the food. So do not stop giving a certain kind of food or a vegetable or a certain kind of food item to the child just because they have rejected it almost 10 times. So it takes more than 30 attempts to get a child to feel accustomed to a particular taste, texture and color and everything. And what can be very helpful is letting them play with food even if it makes a mess. That is what helps a child become more familiar and be more open to trying new foods. In the 9th to 12th month is when, by end of the 12th month, is the time when the child should be eating everything the family eats. So this includes meat and meat products, this includes curd, paneer and all these things, but it needs to be hand mashed and not exactly very hard to chew. So the hard food should come later, mostly soft, but soft enough to bite. It shouldn't be any more of paste, no more paste and no more gruels. But if you are somebody who is giving them soups and stuff, take out the solid part of the soup first and mash it a little bit. Let them eat the solid part first, and then if they still have space, you can then feed them the soup liquid. Otherwise, they're just going to fill that little stomach with all the liquid and they won't be able to eat the solid food. So this is up to 12 months of age, and 1 year as in post their first birthday. From then till second year onwards, you just repeat the foods that you have offered during the first 6 months. You don't need to introduce all new foods, but repeat and offer them as much variety as you can. Introduce all kinds of fruits to them, all kinds of vegetables to them, and the quantity should also go up. From that point onwards, it should be 3 to 4 meals per day plus 1 to 2 snacks depending on the child's demand, and each meal should be about 1 cup size. 1 cup is about 250 ml. So that has to be the size, and then about 3 to 4 meals depending on how the child is eating, or 3 meals plus 2 snacks. And throughout this time, from 6th month till end of second year, throughout this time, what I didn't say but should be understood is the breastfeeding must continue. So all this solid food that we are talking about, introducing and then offering to them at different times and everything, all this is called complementary feeding for a reason. It only complements the nutrients that the breastfeeding provides. So if you are somebody who has been breastfeeding, please continue to breastfeed and offer this complementary food. But for some reason you are unable to breastfeed the child, then the quantities of food should be increased gradually as per your pediatrician's advice. So this is about feeding a baby for optimal growth, and while you are doing all this, make sure you measure their height or you measure their length if it is baby who is unable to stand on their own. So measure their growth and prepare their growth charts, or take help of your pediatrician to get the growth chart prepared so that you can monitor their growth. What you give your child in the first 2 years can drastically change their health and the potential, physical potential of the child, because this is when maximum growth happens. And by end of first year, the child should be already eating or starting to eat at least 1 meal or snack on their own. By end of second year, they should be comfortably able to eat at least 1 meal on their own, as well as the content of calories should be at least half of a fully grown adult's meal. So as long as you know this and you are following this, your child will grow healthy and happy. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and share this video with more number of people who might benefit from this information. Also, for more health related and diet related content, subscribe to Nutriful. Thank you.